Attack the enemy! Victory is ours!
Hello everyone, welcome back for some more War Thunder. Today is a domination battle on Sinai with my Soviet 8.3 lineup, and as you can see it was a bit of an up tier. Not surprising considering this battle came from 22 September 2017 after the 1.71 patch came out, so seeing T-64 1971s is not exactly a crazy thing yet, anymore. Now, as I normally do, I started out from the western point here on Sinai, and I headed for the B point. I find I can rather reliably make it there. I get killed occasionally, but for the most part I can make it to the B point from either the north or the south side from the western spawn and get to the B point and usually at least contest it, if not outright capture it myself. And I have really come to enjoy both the T-55A and the T-62 almost equally to me. I like them both. I drive the T-55A usually first with my T-62 as a backup, but I really do enjoy driving both of them. I find them both to be very equal, very mobile, very reliable and sturdy for in both cases, so I really like driving both of them. And as you can see, I've been making quite a bit of progress on my T-55 for modifications as well, which is also always nice. Now, sometimes when I do get killed going for the B point here, it's because a Leopard or now MBTs or KPZs get way off to the side there in like the D or the E square, or D2, E2 square, and will shoot long ways into people heading into the B point. And that happens occasionally, but for the most part, you generally can make it to B pretty reliably with something that's even remotely fast. So I was going to shoot a little bit of a distraction artillery fire at the C point, but I couldn't get a really good bearing on where I wanted to fire at, so I elected to just drop it on the B point instead and try to soften up my own attack here. Do a little scan of the mountains up there for the old Mooj. Didn't see any, of course, but the sun is pretty much in the worst possible position to be able to see anything at all whatsoever up beyond A, so it really didn't matter. You can see somebody moving up there ahead of me, which sure does look like a Leopard. Backed off because I knew I wasn't going to have a very good shot at him, and I'm going to have to crest over this hill, which doesn't really give me the best gun depression to fire at him either. That's one negative about the 55 and 62, and there he is. He's in sight, and as I'm trying to back off and then try to beat him up to the draw there, he fires, gets a bounce off me, probably shooting APDS, and right as I get lined up on him, I take a hit from his buddy up in the hills. Of course. And then another buddy who's alongside of him, so there's at least two Leopards up in front of me now. As well as something firing multiple supporting fires into me, so probably two to my left as well, which of course makes sense because it's pretty early in the battle and not very many of them have been knocked out. So I risked that I was far enough back to be hidden from all of their fire and hit my repair, which was going to take a little while. But I did have three friendlies coming up behind me, so I marked where the enemy was shooting at me from most immediately and then sat back to wait for my repair to finish. And hoped that my teammates were going to come up behind me and actually give me some support here. Repair finally in hand. I fired a little bit of artillery off in front of me to soften up and hopefully damage the Leopards. And then started pushing forward again, because the three guys behind me really hadn't moved at all. So I'm trying to get a shot in on this guy through all the dirt and smoke and dust from my artillery fire, and he somehow can see me through it, and I couldn't get a good shot on him. Between the grass and the dirt and the smoke and everything, I couldn't see him at all. Had to guess on my shots, and now I do finally have teammates coming up behind me to help, and he comes around and gets another shot into my breach, naturally. So I've got to repair again, and he comes up to get another free shot into me, which thankfully only set me on fire and didn't kill out any more of my crew. So I'm not entirely sure what my 3 teammates behind me are waiting for, as I take yet another hit from this leopard. And then, finally, one of them moves up and puts him under as I have a 65-second repair now. So they did finally come to my rescue and save me before I took too much damage, although I am down to just 2 crew members now. And I'm taking hits from the other leopard who was back behind the rock. You can just barely see him duck behind the rock in front of me there where I'm aiming. At least 1 to 2 of the guys behind me moved up to a position where they can maybe actually see guys here at the B point and help.
Attention to the designated grid square. Attention to the designated grid zone.
So I waited for my artillery to reload to fire a little preparatory fire and or block his vision type fire behind the rock there, just as I finished up my repair. And then I pressed forward with the other TPT-5A there off to my left. And we're going to try to get either one of us on either side of this rock here, and one of us should be able to take out this leopard. I'm a little bit behind because of getting stuck on the rock and having a few seconds left to repair, but got up here pretty quickly. And start taking a bunch of shots from what appears to be a Kugelblitz, who ducked behind the hill, and I wasn't able to get a shot at him. Although I fired it anyways, just to let him know that I saw right where he was. Now my friend Last Right's over here, and his TPT-5A gets a hit on the leopard and sets him on fire. And then I'm able to drive in and get a really good shot into his ammo through the front of his hull. Or rather through his crew, I guess, and finish him off. Now this probably Whirlwind here, I didn't have a good idea of what he was, and he looked like possibly a leopard to me, even though he wasn't wearing the right colored tracers. I thought maybe he was something much more dangerous than a Whirlwind, which I believe is what he is now, after watching this through the replay a couple times. But still, I wasn't sure what he was, and he was firing artillery at me, and it wasn't really near the A point where I wanted to go cap, so I backed away to reposition myself to get away from whatever this guy is who keeps ducking back and forth behind the dune that I don't really want to assault there, and to put myself in a position to go after the A point, which is the other position that we still need to capture. So that's why I backed away from whatever that guy is up there, which I'm pretty sure was a Whirlwind. A little bit of artillery up there on some friendly position, and got a pretty good hit on this guy, and that's where I knew he was actually a Whirlwind and not a leopard, when I got the hit cam up there and I could see the 4 guns and the shape of the turret. Prior to that, he had bushes on the turret that made it really hard to tell what he was. And it wasn't until about the first or second time I watched the replay on this that I realized what was actually shooting at me there, even though really the color of the tracers probably should have given it away. So I had now escaped around the rocks there to get away from whatever that guy was, which we know was a Whirlwind now, and rolled myself up in towards the A point, staying behind as much cover as possible because I knew there were multiple enemies left behind up there who kept getting marked, including what looked like a leopard up there, but as I fired, my shot would have been well left, so I'm not sure if I actually shot at a tank or just a shape that looked like one. Rolled up into the A point, started decapping it, hid myself behind a bit of a building here to give myself some kind of a cover, and started sweeping the hills for probable enemies on both sides.
crew is ready. And now there's zone capture. We have the advantage.
So, with the point captured, time to press ahead, see what I can find of the enemies who are still hiding back here somewhere. I know there's some up in the hills, I assume there are some lower in the hills. I got a little bit of hit with my artillery here, which gave me an indication on where an enemy was. And, of course, the burning smoke from him gave me an even better indication. I knew someone else had hit him and set him on fire. I got a real good shot into his cannon breach and his horizontal turret drive, and then moved on to see what else I could find. I was going to let him burn out or get killed, keeping the zoom on him just to make sure that somebody there got a kill on him. The Whirlwind gets killed by somebody else to give me an assist. And then I line up on the mouse that I saw behind the Leopard, take out his gunner and his loader for the main gun, and then reload to get another shot in, get a assist on the Leopard there, who I had taken up the gun breach for. And right as I'm about to load up on the Panther, or the mouse again, he gets killed by someone else, and there's my 5th assist of the game, all very quickly there too. Now, I don't want to get any closer than this to the spawn, so I held it up and parked here and just waited to reload and wait for any other enemies to get spotted. And it turned out that flurry of kills there, which all ended up in assists for me, was all that the enemy had left. And they lost all their vehicles, and that was that for the battle, almost instantaneously. So the 5 assists may not be the most glorious thing, but they're plenty of score to get me all the way up to first place, and just about double of both anyone on my team or the other team. So scoff at assists if you want to, but they're pretty good for score. And they're also very good for vehicle research, as you can see there. Almost 5,000. Just for getting some assists and a couple captures. And 1 kill. Not too bad for a tank that doesn't have any premium, or doesn't have a talisman on it. It's also a pretty good score, a pretty good payout for the Wingman Award there. So that will do it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll be bringing you more War Thunder tomorrow. Thank you all for stopping by and checking this one out, and have yourselves a great day.